My name is Elisa Lewis, and I'm the founder and CEO of My Animation Life, your animation resource and staffing agency. Today we're doing a live Q&A on how to become a guest at a convention. That's a question we get often, and this week it has exploded. So many people are excited about the conventions of 2017, and they want to know how they can become one. Now let me start by telling you a little bit about the difference between a guest and an attendee. If you're an attendee at a convention, you sit in the audience during a presentation, workshop, tutorial, class, whatever. And if you're a guest, you stand in front of the audience and you're the one presenting the class, workshop, tutorial. That is the biggest difference between a guest and an attendee. The first thing you have to decide when becoming a guest at a convention is whether or not it's worth it. Sometimes it costs you way more time, money, and energy to be a guest than it does to become an attendee. Attendees often have to pay ticket prices to get in, and guests often don't. So that's one of the biggest pros and cons when it comes to deciding. If the ticket price for the convention is really low and the convention is going to be amazing and you don't have a lot to offer, maybe it's best to be an attendee. But if you're looking to brand yourself and to really show your work or your information to an audience, you feel like you have something strong to give, then maybe it's better that you become a guest. So, in short, to become a guest at a convention, all you have to do is go to the website of that convention, find the application for becoming a guest, fill it out, and hit apply. That's the simple way. Now let me tell you all the tricky things in between that often aren't spoken of. So after you've decided why you want to become a guest, is it because you're going to save money on the ticket price, or because you have something you really need to show to an audience, or because you want people to start following you on social media, or to generate more sales for your company? Whatever it is, after you decided that, yes, I want to become a guest, the next thing you have to do is define yourself. You want to decide what areas you're interested in. Is that art, science, education for children? For me, it's animation and animation business. So whenever I write things up or any kind of document for becoming a guest at a convention, it always focuses around those two things: being behind the computer, making the art, and being behind the desk, doing the work so that I can make the art. You want to create a bio for yourself, and I suggest you make 3 bios. The first one being a short bio, that is 50 words, that describes who you are and what you're bringing. The second one is a medium-sized one, that is usually 250 words. And then a long bio, around 500 words. The reason why you need 3 bios is because when you apply in the application section of whatever convention it is, they're often going to have word limits. And I find that 50, 250, and 500 are standard caps for words. You will have other opportunities to send in your bios at different lengths, so having all 3 of them makes you a lot faster when it comes to giving responses to people who are working at the convention. When you're writing your bio, make sure you're writing it as if you're writing it to the attendees and not to the convention. This is a common mistake, to try to pander to the people who work there and convince them that you should be a part of the show, when they are the people who are just the mediums transferring your information to the attendees. The whole point is for you to generate sales of the audience to come in. So if you write it towards the attendees and say, hey attendees, this is why you should come check me out, this is why you should be interested, and this is why you should be excited that I'm here, then you're more likely to be accepted by the convention. You need a resume or CV. The reason why you need this is to prove that you have enough experience or educational background to present on whatever it is you're going to present on. I suggest having basic things like a LinkedIn, or you can have a website with a resume attached to it, or on your social media presence, pick a popular one. Make sure you have a list of things that you've done or things that you're informed on, so that whenever people check your background, because they will do a background check, they're going to search for you online, they'll see what your expertise is. Have a headshot. Now this one isn't the easiest thing for people to have because they don't always have nice pictures laying around, But you have time right now in advance before you apply to get a picture taken of yourself or some sort of image of your company, your brand, whatever presence you want to put out there. Because once you get accepted, a lot of conventions are going to ask you to send them an image. Normally that's a square image. Some conventions will ask you for a 2x4 image, but a square is standard. So make sure you have a square headshot, at least of your shoulder to head. We can talk about more tips of what to not have in your headshot if you have more questions on that. Make sure you have contact details set out already. Know what email you want to use and make sure it's a professional one, or at least one that reflects on your brand. If you are an animator, don't have motorcyclesalesshop@gmail.com as your email. Try using your name or something that reflects what you're doing. Have a website, someplace where people can find you and see the rest of your work. Now, one thing that's great about social media is that because it connects so many people, it's easy for you to be found on it and people can see your work. But one thing that I find that social media doesn't allow is for you to customize a lot of your pages. We all remember the days of MySpace when you could add your special video and have your banners and really make your page what you want it to be. But those days have long since gone when it comes to popular social media sites. So a website is a great way for you to show your audience exactly what you want them to see and nothing else. It could even be a one-pager that just has your image, your bio, and then details about what you're able to bring. Establish an audience. So this one is a little trickier for people who are just starting out. But if you have a company, this is great. You could use your company page and say, hey, we already have people who know about us and who are interested. And if you are just starting out, I would suggest that you begin with those pages as soon as possible, today. Just go ahead and make a page and start having your friends and your family sign up on it. If you have Facebook, have people like your page and make comments and interact with you. If you are on Instagram or Pinterest or some other Tumblr or social media site, make sure you're bringing people to your page. Conventions are looking at the bottom line, which is their dollars that they're going to earn. So if you are a guest that is not going to bring in more dollars, then it's less likely that they're going to accept your application. Now that you've defined yourself, you need to select a convention. So select a convention that suits your interests. If you're interested in animation like myself, don't go for an engineering workshop, because not only are you less likely to get in, but you're less likely to enjoy yourself once you're there. Make sure you also fit the desires and demands of that convention. So if you were going to, let's say, MomoCon, and they do animation, games, and what else? They do sci-fi. If I were to apply to MomoCon, I certainly shouldn't be sending in an application about motorcycles, unless it has something to do with like a certain anime that has motorcycles in it. Make sure that the convention fits you and you fit the convention. The next thing you need to do is come up with a list of costs. This is something that I find a lot of new people leave out, and it's deciding how much it actually costs to go to this convention. One second, let me adjust this. Good, okay. So think about things like how much is it going to cost you to get there? If it's a multi-day convention, are you going to have to get a hotel? Is there a way for you to make money while you're there? Is it something where you're going to have to sell a product? And if so, are you going to have to purchase a table? And then also think about, if you have to skip your normal job to go to this convention, how much is it going to cost you every day to not be at work? Total all that up and decide whether this is the convention for you. If it's something where it's too far away, then maybe you'll save up for another time and do it. But if you're just starting out, start out with local conventions. And then determine your content. What kind of panels, presentations, workshops, classes, etc. are you going to do at this convention? You need to come up with your main title, a tagline, which is usually 1 to 3 sentences. It's just eye-catching and gets people to want to go to your panel, workshop, or whatever it be. And then a full description. The full descriptions are usually for the conventions. Often I see when conventions hand out schedules to attendees, there's not a lot of room for putting a bunch of details. So they just have the title and the tagline. When you're writing your tagline, your title, and your description, you need to be writing it to the attendees. Do not write it like you're writing it to the convention, because like I said before, they are the medium that's going to be passing your information on to the audience. And if it's something that doesn't sound like the audience want to attend, then there's no reason for them to put you in. There are other things that will get them more dollars at the end. Another option that isn't often considered is signing up with an agency. So you've seen big stars and celebrities have agents who negotiate perks for them, like, oh, I'll have all the green M&Ms in my room, or I need a handler to carry my bags. But you could also get an agent as a newcomer. You find someone who is experienced in going to conventions and you tell them your schedule, you let them know your skill sets, and then you have them be in charge of how you get into a convention. This is a very easy route to go, but it could cost you money in agency fees, and it could also cost you the upfront effort of locating a proper agent and then getting established with them. Some tips I have for getting into a convention as a guest are: don't wait until the last minute to sign up. The earlier you sign up, the better, because when conventions are promoting, they often put their guests forward, so they have rounds of accepting guests. They don't wait until the last week of the application process to accept people. Email a staff member a few days after uploading your application. So you go to the website and you upload your name, your panel that you're going to do, what genre you fit into at the convention, all the details they're asking for. Now go follow up with a staff member. Often I find that the online application system and the people working behind the scenes don't always match up. Sometimes applications fall through the cracks and you may not be seen by anyone working on the convention. So email them and say, I sent in an application a few days ago. I just wanted to confirm that it was received. Now, some conventions will send you an automated confirmation email, and that's great, but a lot of them won't. I also recommend 2 to 3 months out from the event. So if the event is in March, then in January, contact the convention if you haven't heard from them and see if you're registered as a guest. Like I said before, it can cost you a lot to be a guest at a convention, so you want to prepare for that. And a great way to accommodate those needs is to make sure that you're on the guest list before you start making plans to attend. Alright, that's what I have for how to become a guest at a convention. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me at myanimationlife@gmail.com. And if I've left anything off that's really important for just how to become a guest at a convention, please leave it in the comments below. I'm sure everyone would love to hear what you have to say. Alright, until next week, goodbye.